Cristiano, a PhD student from the University of Turin in Italy. And you must have heard during the last days a lot about indri songs, especially this morning. So you have heard about rhythmic indris, sexual differences in the song, and other features, but we still have to talk about specific features occurring in indri song, which are the nonlinearities occurring in the singing of this amazing species. And that is something I'm going to do now. These are irregularities in the vocal production originate by the vibration of the vocal folds, which is indeed the Eigen nonlinear system. And such irregularities sounds generally harsh. They are perceived as something between the harmonic sound and noise. And if we consider and if we want to investigate the occurrence of nonlinear phenomena, we cannot ignore non-human primates, which are species that frequently exhibit nonlinear phenomena in their vocalizations. And of course, among them, we may want to investigate those species exhibiting harmonic singles pretty often, such the singing primates, which represent the most distinctive species when it comes to vocal emission, of course. We saw today during the presentation of Marco Gamba that there are only 4 families of primates which we consider as singing primates, but today we will focus, as I just mentioned, on the Indridae family, on the indri, which is live in the rainforest, the eastern rainforest of Madagascar, and which is a critically endangered species. I'm not going to spend too much time on the ecology and behavior of the species because you have heard a lot this morning, but just to recap which this species does, they do songs, they perform songs that starts with harsh sounds, so a real evidence of a nonlinear phenomenon occurring in song, which is followed by harmonic frequency modulated units. And these songs we saw that are sexually dimorphic, and they are uttered basically by the dominant pairs, and to which join often the other group members. And they are useful to communicate the long distance between different groups. So the aims of our study were to understand whether nonlinear phenomena occurring in the harmonic part of the song happen more often at the beginning or at the end of the song, so in a particular part of the singing of these species. And we were also wondering if nonlinear phenomena are randomly or not distributed across the individuals. I have to specify here that we didn't look at the roar, we didn't consider the roars, which is actually evident nonlinear phenomenon, because we were interested in understanding which is the role or where nonlinearities come from within the harmonic units. So we looked at the harmonic part of the song. And we considered, based on previous research, which provided different explanations for the occurrence of this phenomena in the animals during the last 20 years, we formulated our hypothesis. And the first one is that physiological constraints may limit the production of harmonic sounds, and also that nonlinear phenomena may involve individual cues to members of the same species and be associated, for example, with many strategies. But we also consider the hypothesis that tell us that nonlinear phenomena may vary according to the age class. And based on that body of literature and on those hypotheses, we formulated our predictions. The first one is that the longer the duration, the higher the number of nonlinear phenomena we may expect to find in the harmonic part of the song, and also that nonlinear phenomena would increase in number as the song proceeds. And we also predicted that the occurrence of nonlinear phenomena would show an individual variation in terms of sex and age of the individuals. So we collected the data beautiful, amazing place in the forest of Armizza, in the protected areas of Armizza. The songs come from 7 different groups of indris for a total of 105 songs and 28 individuals, adult male, females, and juvenile males and females as well. So we basically identified and manually selected each nonlinear phenomenon occurring within the song. So we created a text file where we write down the codes indicating LLP, like for example LLP1, indicating the nonlinear phenomenon occurring in that specific part of the song. And I would like now, if I will be able to do that, to let you listen a normal unit emitted by a male that means a unit without nonlinearities. Okay, yeah. Then another unit that may be a little bit tricky to get here in this room, but this is a nonlinear phenomenon occurring in the unit, which is the subharmonics. Okay, and here we have roars, which basically is this part, the beginning of the song, and they are clearly different in terms of perceptions of the sound. We identify different types of nonlinearities, including deterministic chaos by exponential frequency jumps, and as I said, subharmonics. And all these features occur sometimes even in some vocal acrobatics emitted by famous singers, such as, for example, Brian Johnson of the AC/DC or La Hathaway. Even if we as humans, we don't produce so many nonlinearities compared to the non-human primates. We extracted 3 temporal parameters. The first one was the song duration, which means the total length of the song, starting from the first roar emitted by a particular individual to the end of the last unit emitted. We then extracted the individual contribution for each individual we considered in the studies. So we calculated the length of the singing, starting from the first unit emitted to the end of the last unit emitted by the same individual. And then we looked at the phonation, which is the sum of all the units emitted, and that means that is the actual singing of the animal. We ran some models looking at the occurrence of the linear phenomena in the sum of the indris, and we ran a model for each of the temporal parameters we extracted. And we also looked at the quartiles of the duration, so at the quartiles of the 3 different temporal parameters, to understand if the quartiles affect or not the nonlinear phenomena we are looking at. So what do we get? We got a lot of nonlinearities occurring in the song, even if the species is a species which produce clearly harmonic units very often. Here there are just other examples of how some nonlinear phenomena look when you look at the spectrum. So, for example, we have the first one is a typical baby unit, and then the one in the middle is you can see very easily, I think, the subharmonics which occur between the natural harmonics of the first fundamental frequency, and then we have another nonlinear phenomenon which occur quite often in the indri songs, which is a mixed unit. So a unit that starts with a lot of noise and then it translates into a clear harmonic sound like the normal units that they generally emit. We found the positive effect of all the 3 temporal parameters on the total occurrence of the linear phenomena, but we did not find any evidence of sex and age. And we also tested each model against each other, and we found that it's the actual singing, so its definition, the best predictor of the linear phenomena in the indri zone. We also found that the quartiles predicts the occurrence of nonlinear phenomena. And again, we saw that while some duration was not significant, individual contribution and phonation overall were statistically significant in predicting the occurrence of the linear phenomena during the zone. So again, we did not find any evidence for the role of sex or age. So our predictions, the first two were confirmed, and in fact, it's the duration that predicts the occurrence of nonlinearities in the indri zone. And also, nonlinear phenomena would increase in number as the zones proceed, but the occurrence of such phenomena didn't show any individual variation. And that means that probably in indris, it's the physiological constraint which limits the production of harmonic sounds and lead to the occurrence of nonlinearities. And this might be a trade-off between the need of conveying information at a long distance and performing these actual complex and long and loud songs. And maybe simply associated this phenomena to maybe the byproduct of the vocal emission, of course, but we didn't find any evidence of adaptive evidence which may confirm adaptive hypothesis for the occurrence of such phenomena in this species. I would like to thank, of course, all of my colleagues and you for your attention, and I'm here for any questions. Thank you.